Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, for today's video, for this morning's video, those of you who don't know, my name is Vicky Marie. I am based in Spain, in Europe. It is 9:35 a.m. as I am doing this live. And what I want to talk about in this video is the case of Noah Donohoe. And this is a case goes back quite a few years, and it's a very, very sad case, as they all are, but very mysterious. Noah's family are looking for answers finally after not knowing how this beautiful 14-year-old boy, very handsome boy, to all intents and purposes, a good boy, very close relationship with his mum, went out for a bike ride one Sunday evening and did not come home. And, attempts have been made to sort of piece together his movements because finally he was found deceased in sometimes they call it a storm drain, or they call it a culvert, or there's different things that call, but it's a very strange place to be found, especially because this place was not easily accessible, to the public. And although, obviously he did get in there somehow, or did he get in there? Was he put in there? And he was found deceased, and his autopsy report said that he died of drowning. So what happened to Noah on that day that he set off for a bike, told his mum he was going to see his friends, set off on his bike? At some points in the day, he was seen, or the evening, because it was evening time, he was seen riding his bike naked by a couple of different people. He was seen taking his clothes off, apparently. He was seen falling off his bike. He certainly discarded his clothes and his possessions somewhere along the way. But so, there's various bits of CCTV, etc., that piece together a lot of Noah's journey that day, but not really how or why he ended up in the storm drain deceased. And this has gone on for years, and there's been a lot of criticism of the Northern Irish police because right from the get-go, it's felt that they did not deal properly with Noah's disappearance. A witness had come forward to say that they saw Noah fall off his bike, and the Irish police, instantly decided then that he had had a head injury, and that would explain all the strange behaviour that happened after that. And they focused in on this premise that he'd had a head injury, he was concussed or confused, and that's what led to all the other things happening, and that's what led to him being found dead. Bless him. 14 years old, a bright boy, intelligent, a nice boy. And so this all happened just after COVID had finished. So it's 5-6 years ago now when this event happened. I'm sure for his mum, Fiona, it feels like it was just yesterday. So his mum, Fiona, has been on this crusade. Obviously, she wants to know what happened to her son. Is there more to this? Is it more than just a tragic accident? Or did he mean to take his own life? Was he concussed? Had he been given something that had made him act erratically? Or had he taken something that made him act erratically? And one thing I can say, and I know my regular chatters will always be respectful to the families of the people that we talk about. Believe it or not, because we can never quite get over why people do what they do, but Fiona, Noah's mum, has has experienced terrible trolling and terrible slurs, you know, a bit in the same way that Jay Slater's mum did. Why is it always the mums, first of all, I want to know, get the most hatred online? And why would someone lay hate on someone who, when their son has died in such tragic circumstances? You know, what they think Fiona killed him. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, you know, they're sort of examining her as a mother, and, you know, and I'm sure she's not a perfect mother. Which of us is a perfect mother? God, I hope I never get examined, you know, for, there'll always be things that you've done wrong that people can bring up and throw in your face. But fancy doing that when somebody's son has died. I just don't understand these kind of people that do that. But anyway, that is a very sad reality that Fiona has experienced that. Let's have a closer look at Noah there. So this is Noah. You know, when I look at his little face, I think, you know, he's such a handsome boy. Apparently he was a very tall boy for his age. So a couple of the witnesses that we'll hear about from the inquest initially thought he was a grown man when they saw him on his bike because of his height. So, you know, when he was actually seen cycling with no clothes on, I mean, we're going to see what the witnesses said at the inquest. You know, a lot of them thought it was somebody with a man, not it was Father's Day apparently, or it was so a lot of people felt that it was like some sort of prank, or, you know, somebody didn't realise. Thing is, when you see things going on, you know, if you're driving down the road or walking down the road or whatever, and sometimes you see strange things, but your brain is automatically wired, I think, to reason them out and to think, oh no, that must be such and such, it can't be that. Or, you know, and there's probably many times maybe, that we've seen strange things happening, just haven't registered. You know, I mean, it is, you think, God, a 14-year-old boy cycling along in the nude, you would think, ring the police or whatever. I mean, there were a couple of the witnesses did sort of think, hey, hang on, he is acting a bit strange. But yeah, I think you can, you know, and normally you're on your way somewhere or something's happening, you catch something out the corner and you might think, was that man wearing any clothes? And then, you know, they've gone then, or you've gone and you've moved to it, and you'd be thinking, no, it must have been, you know, because it was summer, of course. So you might think that, oh, maybe he was just wearing Speedos or something. You know, you'd think you were imagining it, wouldn't you? So, unfortunately, you know, nobody knows why Noah was doing that. His mum says he was a very private person. You know, typical 14-year-old. What 14-year-old? You know, people of any age really, but unless they grow up to be exhibitionists, but certainly teenagers, they're very self-conscious, aren't they, about their bodies? So it seems a very odd thing, doesn't it, that he was doing. Anyway, it's with a list of odd things in this case. And poor Fiona, his mum, let's just have a picture of them there. You know, she's had to live with this all these years. But anyway, last week the inquest started. So we're going to do a summary. What we're going to do in this video today is a bit of a summary of what's happened so far in the inquest. But from next week, I'm going to start covering the inquest daily till the resolution of it. Because I think it's very important. And there are things coming out. Do you know there's things coming out in this inquest that even Fiona did not know, had not been told? So it's now a witness came out and said they saw Noah removing his clothes. Why has Fiona never been given all the details? You know, she's his mother. She had to find out like everybody else at the inquest, for God's sake. Anyway, here's this picture is, I think he is clothed on that one, isn't he? He's still got his helmet on, because he started off cycling with all his clothes on. his clothes on, his helmet on, and for some unknown reason, bit by bit, he just started taking everything off. And he did have this fall off his bike. But whereas the Irish police seem to focus in on that and say, oh, well, he must have been concussed, the witnesses are now saying in the inquest that they didn't feel that he did injure his head. You know, it wasn't that sort of fall. But anyway, we just got to wait and see what transpires in the inquest. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to recap the inquest so far, and then next week, we are going to start covering it day by day and see what verdict is reached. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Very special thank you to my members. Why not think about becoming a member? We have a special members live every Thursday where we talk about unexplained events through history, really. Anything that's mysterious and unexplained. It could be UFOs, it could be missing people, crimes, etc. Anything. And of course, the members can, of course, as well suggest events to talk about. Also, a very special thank you to those of you who've bought me a Ko-fi. You know, I've got a fund going on, or a goal to buy a new computer because my computer died, and I'm sort of, getting somewhere with it, because also people have made donations in other ways. Thank you so much for that, because it's really important that I am, to be a YouTuber, you do have to have a half decent computer. So I'm streaming on my laptop at the moment, which is fine, but it's very slow and patchy. So if you are able to help by buying a Ko-fi from just €3, please do. And thank you to all of you who have done so far. Thank you so much. Where else? What else? Thank you to those of you who send me emails about suggesting cases, or send super stickers or PayPal, etc. But also just by leaving a nice message, by just watching my videos. You're supporting my channel. Thank you. I appreciate everybody for all the positive input into my channel. Right, let's take the banner off. And of course, hello to my lovely lurkers. People that watch lives but don't like to join in the chat. Chat's not for everyone. Thank you to those of you who are watching on replay crew. Thank you for caring about Noah. I think any of us with children, but anyone who's got an empathetic bone in their body, can see that the thought of your son going out for a bike ride on a Sunday evening, and you go, all right, yeah, see you later, and then just never coming back. And then this whole mystery thing. I mean, it'd be bad enough, if they had an accident and it was clear cut what had happened to them. But to go through all this with not all this mystery, all these strange events, and live with it, and then combine the trolling, idiots out there trolling you. I suppose Noah's mum keeps going for him, for his memory, but it must be difficult sometimes, to just even keep going, mustn't it? But okay, I'm going to come into the chat now. See who's brave enough to come into the chat, put their heads above the parapet. I've just done a very brief live about Daniel Martel. But anyway, hi Lily again. Hi Bluebell. I don't think anything was found in his system, Bluebell, but maybe that will come out in the inquest. Hi Angel. Hi again, Angel. It's not a US case. No, it's Northern Ireland. This happened. Angel, this happened in Belfast, or near Belfast. So yeah, it's very close to home. Now, it's a case that's been simmering for so many years. I don't think I've covered it before. I think I may have covered it once, but just it's one of those cases that you sort of want to avoid covering, really, for the simple fact there's so much conflicting information. And so now it's come to the inquest, and actual facts are coming out. Witnesses actually speaking instead of rumours and all, supposedly someone saw him here or this. So now it's the actual inquest and it's the facts coming out. That's why I feel like it's the time now to cover it. So, yeah, let's have a bit of a background. Now, literally, I'm going to read off Wikipedia just to give you the background to the case. I mean, I've, talked about it a lot, but I'm not sure on the dates and things like that. So this all happened in 2020. So it's just in that year of, what a year that was, wasn't it? Do you know, I always remember when my students, because for anyone who doesn't know me, I am also a Spanish teacher. When my students will pay for a course or whatever, and I give them a receipt, and you have to write the date, obviously. And I remember when it came to January in 2020, I remember writing the first time that I wrote that date, I remember thinking, oh my God, 2020, that feels like, what's the words I'm looking for? That feels like some sort of space thing. Do you know what I mean? It didn't feel real. 2020, it was like, and little did I know that 2020 was going to turn out to be just that mad year, wasn't it? When COVID struck, etc. So on on the 21st of June 2020, Noah Peter Donohoe, a 14-year-old schoolboy from Belfast in Northern Ireland, went missing while he was cycling in Belfast. So I think I will, let's see, shall I? Not sure why the dog's whimpering. So he was found deceased 6 days later. So he was missing for 6 days. And he was found in a storm drain. And a post-mortem examination concluded that he died by drowning. And the circumstances of his disappearance and death, the handling of the police investigation, and delays in releasing key evidence have led to widespread public concern, sustained advocacy, and an inquest process that has begun but is still continuing. Now, I wonder if it will say here. So, yeah, let's have a look at I'm going to share this, actually. Let's share it. So on the 21st of June 2020, he left his home on Fitzroy Avenue at approximately 3:34 a.m. wearing flip-flops and a t-shirt and shorts and carrying headphones. So this was earlier that day. CCTV footage showed him turning towards Queen's University. He then returned at 4:08 a.m. barefoot and without his headphones. So I don't think we know where he was during that time. So he left the house at 3:34 and came back at 4:08 barefoot and without his headphones. So there's your first mystery. Later that day, at approximately 5:40, he left home again, telling his mother he planned to cycle to Cave Hill to meet friends. He was carrying a rucksack and wearing a helmet, jacket, hoodie, shorts and trainers. And CCTV footage later showed him travelling through Belfast city centre, gradually discarding personal items, including his rucksack and his mobile phone. And then at approximately 5:59 p.m, he was seen falling from his bicycle. This was captured on CCTV and reported by eyewitnesses. He continued riding through residential streets in North Belfast, including York Road, Skegonial Avenue and Northwood Crescent. His bicycle was later found outside a property on Northwood Road and the other items, including his helmet and clothing, were recovered from nearby locations. So for some reason, sorry, I thought I was sharing that, but I'm not. I'll put it up there now. For some reason, he discarded his personal items, including his clothes. Why did he do that? Was he having some sort of psychotic break, or, it's so strange for a teenager to remove their clothes in public. I think even teenagers don't even like going to the swimming pool, do they, and things like that, and showing their bodies off. They're very self-conscious. At approximately 5:59, he was seen falling from his bicycle. He continued riding through residential streets in North Belfast, including York Road, Skegonial Avenue and Northwood Crescent. His bicycle was later found outside the property. Okay, so the final confirmed sighting occurred at approximately 6:08 p.m. when CCTV captured Noah on Northwood Drive. And additional footage showed him unclothed. So there is footage of him unclothed, leaving his bicycle and walking towards a stream behind a nearby residence. The stream led to a culvert inlet on land owned by the Department of Infrastructure, which was gated and not publicly accessible. And the inlet was covered by a metal grille but was not padlocked. The land was not a public park, and it was accessible only to certain residents. So, he wasn't found in an obvious place like, in the river or this place where he was found. Why would he have gone there? And how would he even have known about it? So later that evening, at approximately 9:44 p.m., sorry, hang on a sec, lost track of it there. At approximately, where am I? 9:44 p.m., Noah's mother contacted the police to report him missing. A coordinated search operation followed, involving emergency services and volunteers. So it was to be 6 days before Noah's body was recovered from a storm drain in North Belfast. Is that going to, if I press that, will it take me to? Oh, hang on. No, I'll have a look. I'll put some photos up in a moment of the actual place where he was found. Very, very strange. Sorry, there's been a changeover of the dogs. That's what the dog noise is that you can hear. So a post-mortem examination concluded he had died by drowning. And as part of the wider investigation, a man was jailed for 3 months in January 2021 after pleading guilty to stealing his rucksack on the day he went missing and attempting to pawn his laptop. He told police he had found the bag near Ulster University buildings in Belfast city centre, but the court said there's no link between this individual and Noah's death. So that's the background of it. So we're at a point, all these years later, where finally the inquest is happening. Okay, so let's have a look for a picture to show you the storm drain. Yeah, so that you can get an idea of the very strange place it was found. Let me share this. So you can see it's, look at now, did he open that up or did he squeeze through the bars? I mean, he was a slim lad. I don't know. Anyway, you can see it's a very strange place. Also, it's not publicly accessible except by certain properties. It's not something that you could be walking down the road and see and think, oh, what's that? Let's go and have a look. Why did Noah even know about this place? And why did he go in there? Did he deliberately mean to delete himself? Or, is it just some sort of, did he have some sort of psychotic break or mental health incident that made him, cycle naked along the road or why would he take all his clothes off in public like that? Very odd, isn't it? But even, he had been taking substances. I think it's very unusual for a 14-year-old boy to voluntarily strip in public and, just they're very self-conscious normally about their bodies. So it's obvious, it's just there's something more to it. We just don't know where it is, do we? So anyway, let's have a little recap of the inquest so far. That's what I want to do now. And I'm following the thing is, it's been going on for a few days, but because it started, I think, on Monday. But to be fair, the first couple of days, it really got going when the witnesses started giving their evidence, about the people that had seen him, on his bike, fall off his bike, etc. That's when it really got going. The inquest up the past couple of days, I suppose, rather from right at the beginning. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the blog from the Belfast Live, which summarises. So this inquest is running from Monday to Thursday. So there's no inquest today, no hearing today. So it'll be Monday before the next installment, if you like, which as I say, I'm going to start covering it daily then, because there's a lot, to talk about in one video, if you like. So this guy starts off saying what happened on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, the inquest heard from a number of witnesses. Arrival Noah fall from his bike on North Queen Street in North Belfast. She raised concerns that in a statement that she had made to police led to the force creating a theory that Noah had suffered a head injury during the fall. And she told the inquest that she never said to the police that she thought Noah had suffered a head injury. And another witness, Beryl Smith, told the hearing that she had seen Noah cycle past the window of her home on Northwood Crescent, and he appeared to be removing his helmet, while another witness, Krzysztof Kozakiewicz, said he had seen the team on Northwood Road without a top on. So various witnesses saw Noah in various states of undress. It does seem that it was him who was taking it off his clothes because, obviously there were thoughts that did somebody abduct Noah and strip him, or it doesn't seem that way because he was seen, taking things off. But having said that, there is a gap. There's a gap in the CCTV that's available between him sort of cycling along with nothing on and then to him being in the storm drain. That's what is the key thing, isn't it? How did he get from there, from his bike? Because he just left his bicycle. Apparently the bicycle was just dumped. And then how and why did he go in this storm drain? How did he even know about it? So I think, and the other thing that's hoping to be resolved in this inquest, which I think is particularly important for Noah's mum, is why did the police just, go this particular way? They didn't investigate him as a missing person that was in any danger. That it's just like, oh, well, he'd had this head. As soon as they heard that he'd fallen off his bike, they just assumed that he'd had a head injury and got concussion. But I don't think they treated it. At the end of the day, it was a 14-year-old boy that had gone missing in strange circumstances. But I think that is the main criticism of the police in this case, is that they just decided, that these events were a result of him falling off his bike with no evidence to suggest that he actually did hurt his head. So just assuming. Why is it gone? Oh, am I there again? I'm still there, aren't I? You can see me and hear me, can you? Can't you? Because, as usual, this computer's going weird. Okay, so that was the summary of what had happened so far. So yesterday, the hearing began at 10:27. And the first witness of the day took the stand and described seeing Noah's bike. So the first witness of the hearing yesterday, Karen Crooks, took the stand with her statement made to the police on July the 1st, 2020. And this was read to the court. In the statement, she said she was in her Northwood home on June the 21st when she looked from her bedroom window onto the road at around 6:30 p.m. after hearing people talking, and saw a bike on the road behind her car, which she thought was strange. And a few hours later, at around 7:45 to 8 p.m, the bike was still there, and she went out and moved it and set it against a wall. When she returned home from work the next day at 5 p.m, the bike was still there, and she took a picture of it with the intention of putting it on social media. As she was, I'm surprised it was still there, to be honest. My God, if you left that around in Manchester, that would have been gone within 5 minutes. Anyway, it was still there, bless it. So she intended to put it on social media, and as she was going to do so, she saw the missing person report for Noah, and she realised that the bike matched the description and rang the police, but she did not see who had left the bike. She said she was aware of the stream at the rear of her home. So this is a lady who lives near this storm drain. I mean, maybe Noah did know about it, but why would he have gone in there? But anyway, apparently he was terrified of the dark. Why would he have gone in that storm drain? It just, I was saying in the members last night, it does remind me a little bit of Elisa Lam. The Canadian girl who went missing in the Cecil Hotel in America, and that strange CCTV or the elevator video of her in the lift in the hotel pressing the buttons. And then she went missing, didn't she? And then she was found in the water tank on the roof of the hotel. And the general result of her inquest, I think, was that it was like misadventure, that she went up there and she got in that water tank and drowned. Now, is it possible that people do things like that? To me, whenever I look at that Lisa Lam case, I can't believe that she got up there and did that herself. But I know that people do strange things and that you just can't get your head around. But this reminds me of that a bit. You've got all these sort of mysterious CCTV recordings of Noah, riding his bike naked, etc., disposing of his clothes, etc., etc. But then you've got this sort of gap of, you know, why did he put his bike there and go to this storm drain? But anyway, I don't know. So she said she was aware of the streams at the rear of her home and the storm drain at the rear of a nearby property at 85 Northwood Road. She said she did not have access to the storm drain and was not aware if anyone did, other than the agency that managed it. The gate at the side of her house led towards the stream and storm drain, with Miss Crooks saying it had a bolt on it and it could be easily accessed. The court heard that Miss Crooks found Noah's bike around 30 minutes after he is supposed to have left it on Northwood Road. So he must have known of that. If Noah got in that storm drain himself, he had to know about it, didn't he? So apparently a number of Northwood Road properties had access to the waste ground where the storm drain was located. However, someone would have to trespass through these properties to access the area due to a metal fence surrounding it. So I don't know. Do you think he? Oh well. Anyway, so then they were discussing in the hearing. The hearing has heard that what's been referred to as a storm drain at the rear of the properties on Northwood Road is a culvert that had a debris screen on it. And Miss Crooks has been asked if she was aware that the Department of Infrastructure checked the debris screen and culvert every week. Now, I think this is important. So a BBC interview that Karen Crooks did with Evening Extra has been read to the hearing. And in the interview, Miss Crooks describes the storm drain and said she thought the grate on it would not have allowed a child to go through it. However, her 5-year-old son had told her he had managed to get through the grate. Well, I'll tell you what, this is not safe, is it? You know, so her child had managed to fit through it. I mean, did he try to go in it? Now, how dangerous is that? I mean, that's one, you always try and look something positive that comes out these cases, that these storm drains and things their safety has been reassessed. Because, I mean, I'm not talking about a 14-year-old. I'm surprised at a 14-year-old going in there. But, little kids, when they're out and about, maybe it's sort of not even far from their house, are they? They investigate, don't they? They investigate and they do silly things. Do you remember years ago there used to be a big, what's the word I'm looking for? There was a big hoo-ha because a lot of children, or quite a few children, had gone into fridges that had been left on tips and things, opened the door, gone in, and then the fridge door had shut and they couldn't get out. And children had died actually that way. Do you remember that? Did they change fridges after that so that you could get out? I can't remember. It led to a big hoo-ha anyway, and a big safety campaign about fridges. But it seems to me that if this very sad, tragic case of Noah has led to a safety assessment of these storm drains, that is, at least in itself, a good thing. But the thing is, if there was a bolt on this storm drain that could just be easily opened, like not locked, anyone could get in there, couldn't they? I mean, Noah wouldn't have to squeeze through the railings. Maybe he could squeeze through the railings. He was a very slender boy, and of course he wasn't wearing any clothes by this point. But having said that, if there was a bolt on it that wasn't locked, then he could have just opened it and gone in, couldn't he? So also in the BBC interview, Miss Crooks said the police were always around the storm drain in the days following Noah's disappearance. And the witness was not aware if there was a lock. She believed that the access hatch of the grate had a lock on it, but she was not aware of it or she had not been down there in a couple of years. So she was asked if she was aware of why it would not have a lock on it, and that it may need to stay unlocked in case someone was washed through the debris screen. Yeah, so if you had a lock on it, I'm just trying to work this out in my head. If somebody pushed through the debris screen, it needed to stay unlocked in case someone was washed through the debris screen. Now, I suppose when there's flooding, as there often is, that what they're saying, that if somebody actually got washed into the storm drain, it needed to not have a lock on it so they could get out? Oh my God. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's chilling, isn't it, really? These are, the thing is, these are things you just never even think about. I'm now thinking about here where I live in Spain, there are storm drains. You couldn't fit through them. Nobody could fit through them. Not even a dog or a cat could fit through the screens. They're small holes, but they're big. But so I'm just getting it, because we have had floods everywhere, as floods these days, isn't it? Don't they, from time to time? And it's just terrifying to think that person might be washed into a storm drain or whatever, and then not be able to get out. Just it's so surreal, isn't it? So surreal. So then Miss Crooks was shown CCTV and dashcam footage of Northwood Road in the minutes after Noah left his bike in the area. Now, this is Fiona, Noah's mum, and my heart just goes out to Fiona, because at the end of the day, her son's not coming back, whatever the result of this inquest is. But I just hope whatever whatever she feels is, I don't know what her hope is through the inquest, like what she hopes will turn out, maybe that changes are made in the safety around storm drains, or changes are made in the way the Northern Irish police deal with cases. I just hope whatever her hopes are, in this inquest, probably a lot of it is to do with answers, just answers as to what happened to Noah. I hope she gets those answers. I can't imagine the pain that she's going through. So then she was shown pictures. Miss Crooks was shown pictures showing access routes to the stream and culvert behind her and the neighbours' properties. She assumed the culvert grate would have been safe. She told the hearing that prior to Noah's death, she assumed that the grate around the culvert would have been safe for children to be near, as it had been built by a government body. Gosh. Well, you would I suppose, yeah, we do take safety for granted, I think, of those kind of things, don't we? You just presume, well, the necessary precautions will have been made, checks, etc. You just depend on, if a government body has installed it. I mean, we obviously shouldn't just assume that things are safe, but I think we do assume that a lot of things were safe. And she says she was never warned that it could be dangerous for children to be near it. Yeah. Now, this is quite a key thing, I think, because apparently on the CCTV of Northwood Road in the minutes prior to Noah being seen and dropping his bike, a pair of feet can be seen in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And Miss Crooks has been asked if she knew who this was. And she says she did not see, so she didn't know whose feet this was. Then they had a break for lunch, and then a house-to-house questionnaire carried out by police at a property on Northwood Road said that Noah's trainers were found outside of 61 Northwood Road. Then another questionnaire of a Northwood Road resident said they saw Noah take his top off and place it on a wall. Then we've got these three noises. A Northwood Road resident told police in a questionnaire that they heard three noises at 1:30 a.m. The noises were recorded on the document as eek and ugh. Now, was that Noah? And then a witness said that Noah Donohoe at the Noah Donohoe inquest, that she was not aware of reports of noises or torches being used in an area close to where the schoolboy's body was found on the night before he went missing. Karen Crooks, a resident of Northwood Road in Belfast, continued giving evidence to the inquest after lunch, and Brenda Campbell, barrister for Noah's mother, Fiona, asked the witness if she was aware of a neighbour hearing noises at the back of their house at around 1:30 a.m. the night before Noah went missing, and Miss Crooks said she was not. And Miss Campbell said, "Did you hear any noises?" Miss Crooks said she had not. And the barrister asked if she was aware there were torches in the area that night, and Ms. Crooks said she was not aware of that. Then another report, a car was seen speeding down the street after the sighting of Noah on Northwood Road. Do you know, I'm thinking about this inquest and what from what we know so far, what the possible things are going to come up with, because they can't prove it is self-deletion. It's like misadventure, would it be in the end, or will it be an open verdict? Because to me, I always think that if you don't know what happened, it should be an open verdict. Like with Nicola Bulley case, it's not whether you're even saying, oh yes, there was foul play. You don't know what happened. So if you don't know what happened, surely it's got to be an open verdict if there's no proof of what happened. Anyway, a witness reported to police that after seeing Noah on Northwood Road, they saw a car a short time later speeding down the street with two people inside. The witness told police they thought they were looking for someone. I mean, thing is, that could be absolutely nothing to do with Noah, but you'd think these people would come forward, wouldn't you? But anyway. And then a witness gets to the witness who saw Noah riding his bike naked. A witness has told the inquest that she saw the schoolboy riding his bike naked on the evening he went missing. Kerry Fraser said she was at her partner's house in Northwood Road in Belfast on the evening of June the 21st, when she saw a male riding a bike past the house towards the top of the cul-de-sac, and her statement was read to the court. He was totally naked. I thought it was a man who had too much to drink on Father's Day and was having a prank. He was tall, he had an afro hairstyle and was black. He was sitting down cycling and did not appear to be distressed, although he was cycling quickly. So, yeah, what would you think you would do if you saw someone cycling along with nothing on? I don't think you'd ring the police, would you, or anything like that. You'd just think, oh my God, they're cycling with nothing on. It's like, just wouldn't really register, and especially with Noah being tall. I'm sure if this lady knew he was only 14 years old, maybe she would have been, a bit more curious. But because she assumed it was a man, she just assumed it was somebody having a prank. Anyway, I got up and went to the window and looked out, but he was away. I thought he must have gone into one of the houses, and her statement added, I could see grey shorts with white boxes in them a few doors down. I could see a jumper over the wall, and a pair of trainers placed neatly against the wall. And then she said she could see Noah's bike lying on the road in the cul-de-sac. So it seems like Noah did take his own clothes off, doesn't it? According to what the witnesses say, anyway. Now, very sadly, I know from, cases that I've reported on before, quite often people do sort of remove their clothing and just put it very neatly at the side of the river if it's a river that they've decided they're going to do whatever they're going to do. But I've never heard of anyone, disposing of their clothes and then, walking naked to where they were going to do it, or cycling naked. There's something, if no foul play came to Noah and he did it all himself, there's some either mental health issue or he'd been given something, but that would have come up in the autopsy, of course, wouldn't it, if he had drugs in his system or whatever. And then another witness saw two men talking to someone on Northwood Road after seeing Noah. And Kerry said she saw two people talking to someone at a property on Northwood Road shortly after seeing Noah. But she said she did not know who they were, and she said she could not see that far. So it's not, again, not necessarily anything to do with Noah. But then wouldn't those people come forward? So then she was shown CCTV of a car arriving on Northwood Road beside where Noah left his bike. It appears to show two men leaving the vehicle, one taking an item from the back seat which appears to be flowers. And the men returned to the vehicle and left the area after just over 5 minutes. Again, no, not really any proof that it's anything to do with Noah. I think that was it for yesterday. This will be a summary. So here's Fiona, Noah's mum, arriving with her solicitor. And they've just, that's it. That's what happened. What was that? Yesterday. That's just a recap of what's happened so far. What do you think? I mean, to me, it's just completely mysterious. Now, there are more things to do with this. Noah had. I'm not going to. I could be on all morning talking about all the strange things in this case. And I'm not going to do that. I will make some short videos just giving some information. I just want to direct, if you want to know about this case, more about it, obviously I will be talking about it too, but a good, let me find, what's the one I've been watching? The BBC Sounds has been doing a very, very good analysis of the inquest, or I think it is. But I did notice Fiona, Noah's mum, was on TikTok. Because she's on, if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth, Fiona is on TikTok and she's talking about the inquest every day and her impressions. So, the thing is, the trouble with hey, the trouble, right. The trouble with inquests or any court case where it's not televised, this is, in my opinion, why court cases should be televised, because people can see what's really going on then. Because the thing is, when you're relying on a reporter's account, or even say I was there and I was reporting on it, you're relying on what I say, and I pick out some things that I think are important. That somebody else might pick out another thing that they think is important. Whereas if you're watching the whole thing, actually watching it, you're seeing everything that happens. You're not getting someone's impression of what happened or what somebody remembers or somebody's interpretation of what happened. I think that's important. I think these things should be televised really for that reason. Then nobody can say it's been misrepresented. So I'm going to just play this to finish. So let me just show you. On BBC, says that the page you're looking for is no longer there. I just got it up there. Where's it disappeared to? So it came up and then literally as it came up, it disappeared. Let's try that again. So BBC sat, oh no, they've taken it down, I think. Have they taken it down? Let's try this one. No, it's gone. How old? Let's see. Where else can I look at it? Let's try this. Yeah, maybe because they've put it on YouTube that they've taken it down off the BBC Sounds. But yeah, this has been I think they've given good coverage. But I noticed that Fiona was a little bit critical of what she calls the legacy media because they haven't said enough about things that she finds really important. So one thing that has come up in the inquest that she didn't even know about, she had to find out like everybody else, was that there was CCTV of Noah removing his clothes. And really, the mother, she should have been the first person to know about everything in this case. She shouldn't have to find out about things at the same time as the general public in an inquest. She should be warned of everything that's going to come out because otherwise it's too distressing, isn't it? But let's just have a look at this. Yeah, so there were a couple of things that I don't know if are relevant or not, but they said that there were questions. Some people are questioning Noah's mental health. Now, we know that at 14, that is the time when mental health issues can start in puberty, isn't it? When children go through puberty, and that awkward phase between being a child and then being sort of a teenager and an adolescent. That's when a lot of mental health issues arise, isn't it? Or become more evident, and it can be exacerbated by substance abuse or alcohol. And I'm not saying that that's what happened with Noah. I'm just saying in general that can happen. There were also questions about his sexuality. I'm not sure what that's got to do with anything, or does that matter? I don't know why why he's even bringing that up, but anyway, he is. Let's have a little listen. Oh no, no. So there's no sound. Well, the sound's turned up on there. That happens sometimes. I have no idea why. Anyway, I probably shouldn't play it. I don't know if they'll pick me up copyright or not, but let's just try again. What I'll do is I'll stop sharing it and then try start sharing it again, see if that makes a difference. I just wanted to give you an idea of this podcast. I think it's a good podcast, but as I say, I don't know actually. They may well pick me up.
That, and then he'll ask them just a couple of clarifying questions. And once he's done, then the floor is essentially thrown open to the other barristers, the other properly interested parties, these pips, and they can all take their turns in asking questions, whether it's on behalf of Fiona Donohoe and the family, whether it's on behalf of the PSNI, or, for example, of the Department of Infrastructure.
And I think what might surprise people, Declan, is the fact that the friends are now 20.
Yeah.
You know, Noah disappeared and died when he was 14. So I suppose in most people's minds, these young friends are still that age, but they've moved on. So tell us about Jay Tierney. What was he like?
Well, he was one of maybe 15 people his age in the courtroom today. That was probably the bulk of those in the gallery. Jay, young man, as you say, slight build, rust jumper, glasses.
Yeah, I think that's an important point that they made as well. Of course, these boys, they were young boys, same age as Noah, his friends, 14 or around that age. They're now men, they're now 20, 21. And, that would have been very distressing for them too, wouldn't it? When something like that happens to your friend.
And as he took to the witness stand, I could see Fiona Donohoe, who was across the courtroom, was watching him very closely and kind of smiled at his arrival. So the first thing he did was read out statements. He has given two previous statements to police, one on the 9th of July 2020, that was just 12 days after Noah's body was found, and then one almost a year later in May 2021. And how that process worked was that they were sitting in another friend's house, Charlie's house, and a police officer came and she would ask them questions and they stepped through it. So it's in the police officer's handwriting. So although Jay is reading it, he's trying to decipher some things that the police officer has written. But some of it, for example, said, by third year in St. Malachy's, their school, we were very friendly. He said that Noah was eccentric, but not in a bad way. He wasn't your typical 14-year-old, but he was always trying to learn new things and he was inquisitive. He had more awareness than other kids his age. Jay said Noah asked lots of questions and his mind was always 14 steps ahead. Jay said very early on in his evidence that he has Asperger's. And he said that he and Noah talked about it once. And Jay said that he thought Noah might have it. They talked about his bike, Noah's bike. Until he got his bike, he would walk to school, Jay said. He would come to school on his bike, carrying his cello, which is quite a vivid image of a young lad cycling across the city on a bike with a cello. He wore a skateboard helmet and he would carry his bags. Jay said Noah would not take off his helmet until he knew he was not getting back on his bike. And he later said that the two of them had become really much closer over lockdown and that he'd been to...
Yeah, I think lockdown is just responsible for everything, isn't it? But it probably had a big effect on their mental health, as it did on all teenagers. Oh, it had an effect on all our mental health, I think. But I think particularly on young people like that. And Noah, he seems like a sensible lad, doesn't he? Wearing his helmet and carrying his cello on his bike across the city. This whole thing that happened at the end of this poor boy's life is so out of character for him. No wonder his mum must be in complete shock. Just can't believe, what's happened. Anyway, there's a whole series of these. As you can see, they talk about all the different things. Like her 911. God, I'm in the wrong country there. the 999 call that she made to report her son missing. They talk about that. We haven't got that to listen to. I don't think. I might be able to find a transcript of it. But, you know, I just sort of put my, you know, having a young son, or he's older now, but he was young. I don't, you know, when they don't come home, when they say they're going to come home, particularly if they are reliable, you know, there's probably some kids that are always roaming around and you won't worry about them. But, you know, they might say they're coming home at 7 and they come home at 9 and you wouldn't worry. But there are other kids that, you know, they always do what they say they're going to do. And then in this day and age, you know, if they do, say he said he would be home by 8, 9 o'clock or whatever, like you wouldn't worry at 8 o'clock, would you? But by 8:30, you'd be thinking, oh, you know, why isn't he caught? You know, he's normally, don't forget, I'm talking about someone who's normally reliable. You think, oh, they said he'd be home at 8, it's 8:30, he's not home. Then the first thing you do is message them, I think. And those of you out there, you can tell me what you think you would do. But for me, I'd wait a little while and then you'd notice, and then I'd think, oh, you know, why send a message? So you'd send a message, I think, first of all, before you would phone in this day and age. Send him a WhatsApp message or a text message. Are you okay? Do you need me to come and pick you up? Or then anything happened? Blah, 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 blah. And then you didn't get an answer from that. And especially, again, as I say, if your child, boy or girl, was someone who normally answered straight away. Again, some kids don't answer for hours, do they? But others do. And then you think, then you'd ring, like might wait, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes for an answer. Then you'd ring them. Then you can't get hold of him. And you'd be think that's when you'd really start worrying, isn't it? Then you've got that question going through your head of how long do you wait before you call the police? And what struck me when I listened to the, well, I didn't listen to the 999 call, but when I heard about the 999 call, was that Noah's mum was very apologetic. You know, it was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean, you know, it's probably nothing. That's how you would be, isn't it? Let's see if I can find a transcript or anything for it. You would, because there's, you know, in your head, you'd be thinking, oh, you know, nothing's happened, you know, like, but you'd also be thinking, well, what if something has happened? You'd be going through that all the time, wouldn't you? Let's see if we can find. Can't find a transcript even for the 999 call. Anyway, it'll come out sooner or later, I suppose. But, you know, that's just typical in Britain, isn't it? You don't get the... It's not like America where you get the details. But, so, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, how long do you wait? When you're 14, because 14 is that, I think that's like, it's such a difficult age because they're not a child anymore, are they really? I mean, they are in the eyes of the law, but you know what I mean, they're not like a little boy, and they'll be going through that stage where they're trying to assert their independence. You don't want to make them feel like, you know, that you're being overprotective, do you? Especially a mother with a son. Because, you know, sons don't like their friends calling them mummy's boys and things like that. So you try and keep a distance without, but at the end of the day, they're still a child. They're 14 years old. So you can't just sort of say, oh, that's it, I'm washing my hands of you. Very, very difficult. My heart really goes out. I mean, the thing is, my heart goes out for Noah and whatever he was going through on that last day. But Noah, he's at peace now, at least. But his mum, the torment she must be going through, my heart really goes out to her. So, in fact, let's put the picture up again of. Anyway, I'm going to finish this live stream, but I am going to keep up with this inquest now as it continues into next week. follow it every day, and I'm feeling myself getting a little bit emotional looking at this picture of them, because you just can't imagine what Fiona's going through. You know, you'd be reliving that day over and over again, wouldn't you? And reliving it and wondering if you could have done something different. But you can't. You know, at the end of the day, you can't change what's happened. So I don't, as I said, I don't know what Fiona's hopes are that will come out of the inquest. Maybe that it makes things safe for other children, or just that she gets the answers, you know, and the police are held to account for not dealing with this case properly. But at the end of the day, this young man is not going to develop his full potential, bless him. And it's very sad. So, okay, I am going to finish it there. I hope I haven't depressed you all too much. Do you know what, in life, if you know, the thing is, if you look at Fiona and what she's doing, she's carrying on, even, you know, so that makes it even more, you know, important for us to carry on as well, because if Fiona can carry on, then we can carry on, because we all get our problems, don't we? In life, things go wrong, and sometimes it is hard to carry on, even though it might not be something as dramatic as what happened to Noah that's happening in your life. You know, there's life is just full of problems, isn't it? I mean, it just really is. As soon as you get one problem sorted out, something else. But cases like this, it puts it into perspective. You just have to keep going, put one foot in front of the other, whatever happens, just like Fiona is doing. She's doing it for Noah, I expect. And we should all have someone we're doing it for, our children, our parents, our family, our dogs, I mean, our cats, whatever. You know, you need a reason to carry on sometimes, because of, you know, all these things that can go wrong in life. It can be health issues, it can be mental health, it can be finance, it can be a combination of everything. So many problems, but yeah, we just have to try and live in the moment and put one foot in front of the other, don't we? Anyway, I'm going to hope you have a fantastic weekend. I will probably see you at some point over the weekend here on the channel. Stay safe wherever you are. Stay warm if you're in a cold place. Stay cool if you're in a hot place. And, you know, the most important thing is, may your God go with you. Thank you so much. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Bye.